Hello. We had planned to release only 5 films in our A Plague on All Our Houses series about viruses and lockdown throughout the ages. But it seemed appropriate to us at this time that we should add a 6th film to lend our support to the Black Lives Matter movement. Now, racism may not be a virus as such, but it can be caught from parents and friends and social media, and it certainly is a global pandemic. On July the 17th, 2014, a black man named Eric Garner died in New York City after a police officer put him in a prohibited chokehold whilst arresting him. His last words were, "I can't breathe." Other African Americans such as Xavier Ambler, Manuel Ellis, Elijah McClain, and most recently George Floyd have said the same phrase prior to dying at the hands of the police. In fact, according to the New York Times, the phrase has been used by over 70 people who have died in police custody. Ross Gay is an American poet and professor. Here, actor and poet Matthew Sharpe recites Gay's poem, A Small Needful Fact. It's the first of 2 films that you'll see by Matthew reciting poems. A Small Needful Fact relates to Eric Garner's death, and it notes that Eric's work included helping plants grow to create oxygen so that we can breathe more easily.
A Small Needful Fact by Ross Gay. A small needful fact is that Eric Gardner worked for some time for the Parks and Rec's Horticultural Department, which means, perhaps, that with his very large hands, perhaps, in all likelihood, he put gently into the earth some plants which, most likely, some of them, in all likelihood, continued to grow, continued to do what such plants do, like house and feed small and necessary creatures, like being pleasant to the touch and smell, like converting sunlight into food, like making it easier for us to breathe.
The second of the 2 poems read by Matthew concerns Michael Brown, an 18-year-old African American who was shot dead by police in Ferguson, Missouri on the 9th of August 2014. There were peaceful protests, there were riots, violence and looting. Police established curfews and deployed riot squads. There was strong media criticism of the police when dealing with the protests. In March 2015, the US Department of Justice announced that the Ferguson police force had engaged in misconduct by discriminating against African Americans. They also concluded that Michael Brown was shot in self-defense. In his angry and unapologetic poem, Not an Elegy for Mike Brown, Danez Smith turns, as many poets before him, to comparisons with the Odyssey and the Iliad, written around 1200 years ago by the Greek poet Homer.
Not an Elegy for Mike Brown by Danez Smith. I am sick of writing this poem, but bring the boy his new name, his same old body, ordinary, black, dead thing. Bring him, and we will mourn him until we forget what we're mourning. And isn't that what being black is all about? Not the joy of it, but the feeling we get when we look at a child, turn our head and poof, no more child. That feeling, that's black. Think, once a white girl gets kidnapped and that's the Trojan War. Later, up the block, Troy got shot, and that was a Tuesday. Are we not worthy of a city of ash? Of 1,000 ships launched because we are missed? Always something deserves to be burned. It's never the right thing nowadays. I demand a war to bring the dead boy back, no matter what his name is this time. I at least demand a song. A song will do just fine. Look what the Lord has made above Missouri. Sweet smoke.
streams ran by her and murmured her moans. Sing willow, willow, willow. Her salt tears fell from her and softened the stones. Sing willow, willow, willow. Sing all the green willow must be my garland. Let nobody blame him, it's Lord I approve.